Have you ever paused mid-step and wondered what that simple act of walking, even at your own unhurried pace, might be telling you about the years still ahead? Picture yourself stepping outside at dawn, the sky just turning pink, your mind clear and alert. You reach the end of your sidewalk and glance at your watch, 15 meters and 14 seconds. That measurement, your walking speed, holds more insight than any casual observer might guess. Scientists following thousands of older adults over decades have found that each tenth of a meter per second you fall below average correlates with a measurable rise in your risk of serious health events and even mortality. But here's the good news. Small, deliberate changes to how and how often you walk can yield outsized dividends. Take the story of Agnes, who at 73 had begun to dread her daily strolls. What was once a leisurely, restorative ritual had become a grinding chore. She felt every cobblestone in her aging joints. Alarmed when her doctor pointed out that her pace had steadied into a shuffle, her heart rate higher, her confidence lower, Agnes decided to reframe her approach. She didn't need heroic feats of endurance or fancy gym equipment. Instead, she broke each walk into 5-minute blocks, 2 minutes of intentional speed, focusing on lifting her heels and swinging her arms, followed by 3 minutes at her comfortable pace. On days when she felt tired, she invited her neighbor along, turning her walk into a social occasion that carried her further than she might have gone alone. Within a month, not only did Agnes's average speed tick upward by nearly 0.12 meters per second, but her balance tests, standing on one foot with eyes closed, also improved markedly, surprising both her and her physician. That increase in walking speed signified strengthened muscles, improved cardiovascular resilience, and even sharper cognitive processing. Now, imagine sitting at your kitchen table later that morning. Noodles for breakfast replaced by a steaming mug of green tea. You lift that mug, cradling it as you would a precious vase, and feel the subtle strain. That simple act of lifting, a microcosm of all the small, everyday movements you perform, ties directly into our next vital sign: grip strength. Researchers using hand dynamometers have tracked older adults' grip over years, demonstrating that lower grip strength forecasts higher rates of hospitalization, disability, and early death. But it's never too late to reclaim your hold on life. Consider the journey of Harold, a former carpenter whose work had always kept his hands strong and skilled. In retirement, he swapped hammers for remote controls and found his hands losing tone. Concerned when opening a jar of preserves became a 3-person operation, he borrowed a friend's stress ball and began a regimen: 20 squeezes with each hand, twice a day, punctuating his favorite TV shows. He also practiced fingertip push ups against the kitchen countertop, an odd sight to his grandchildren, but an inventive way to preserve the dexterity he'd honed for decades. After 8 weeks, Harold's dynamometer reading climbed by 15%, and everyday tasks, from buttoning shirts to carrying grocery bags, felt like old friends once more. Later that afternoon, you decide to treat yourself to a moment of reflection, and perhaps a touch of quiet challenge by testing your balance. You rise from your chair and attempt to stand on one leg for 10 full seconds, arms out like an aging airplane. For many older adults, this simple test splits the field. Those who can do it unassisted tend to have fewer falls, fractures, and even less cognitive decline over the next decade. Those who can't are more likely to face hospital stays, reduced independence, and spiraling health complications. Take the tale of Grace, who loved to dance but always hesitated at the edge of the studio floor, fearing a misstep. When her instructor introduced one-leg balances as part of every routine, Grace felt vulnerable at first, her foot wobbling, her breath catching. Yet she persisted, practicing near her bathroom sink, then on the soft grass of her garden. After months, she stood firm, as though rooted like an oak, and returned to her dance classes with renewed joy and confidence. That newfound stability wasn't just physical. Studies suggest that practicing balance also sharpens neural circuits in the
Teacher.
brain, bolstering memory, attention, and even emotional regulation. But what happens when the sun sets and it's time to rest? Sleep, often dismissed as mere downtime, emerges as our fourth vital sign. Deep, restorative sleep orchestrates the cleanup of neurotoxic proteins from the brain, regulates hormones crucial for muscle repair, and fortifies the immune system against daily threats. In one landmark study, seniors whose sleep was fragmented, waking multiple times per night, showed a 30% higher risk of developing heart disease and dementia within 10 years. Meet Samuel, who once bragged about burning the midnight oil. Convinced he thrived on 5 hours of restless sleep. Then he noticed creeping fatigue, mid-morning crashes, and an unsettling fog over his thoughts. Realizing something had to change, Samuel transformed his bedroom into a sleep haven. Blackout curtains to banish stray streetlights, a small humidifier to ease dry air, and a nightly ritual of gentle stretching and reading from a paper book. He also swapped afternoon espresso for chamomile tea at 3 p.m. Within 3 weeks, he drifted off easily, slept more soundly, and woke refreshed, so much so that he took on his first volunteer docent shift at the local museum without a midday slump. Walk into any kitchen, and you'll find evidence of our next sign: appetite and nutrition. It may seem obvious that eating well matters, but in older adults, a waning appetite often hides deeper vulnerabilities. Unintentional weight loss, poor dietary diversity, and nutrient deficiencies correlate with frailty, falls, and shorter lifespans. In one extensive survey, seniors who skipped meals or subsisted on ultra-processed foods had nearly double the risk of hospitalization compared to those who maintained balanced diets. Consider the experience of Eleanor, who felt so full after a few bites that she'd skip lunch entirely. Over 6 months, she lost nearly 8 kilograms and felt perpetually tired. Under her physician's guidance, Eleanor switched to smaller, frequent meals, protein-packed smoothies at breakfast, handfuls of mixed nuts for mid-morning snacks, and a colorful evening plate of roasted vegetables and lean fish. She also began hosting monthly potluck dinners, turning nutrition into a social celebration. As her weight stabilized, Eleanor rediscovered energy for gardening and painting, and her blood tests reflected robust protein levels and healthy micronutrient profiles. Even with excellent food intake, though, chronic stress can erode health from the inside out, our sixth vital sign. Elevated cortisol and other stress hormones fuel inflammation, compromise immunity, and accelerate the aging of our cells. In a remarkable study, seniors who practiced stress reduction techniques such as meditation or Tai Chi not only reported better mood and sleep, but also exhibited longer telomeres. Those protective DNA caps linked to slower aging. John's story illustrates this beautifully. After retiring, he felt untethered, his days drifting between worry about finances and guilt over idle hours. He began a daily 10-minute meditation each morning, focusing on his breath, then took a short walk with a neighbor, using the outing as both exercise and social connection. He also rediscovered his childhood love of watercolor painting, losing himself in color and form. Gradually, John noticed lower blood pressure, fewer colds, and a renewed sense of purpose, benefits that extended well beyond mental calm to tangible gains in his physical health. Finally, perhaps the most powerful of all, social connection. Human beings are inherently social creatures, and robust social networks among older adults correlate with lower rates of depression, cognitive decline, and even mortality. One large study found that socially isolated seniors had a 26% higher risk of death over a 7-year period than those with strong community ties. Imagine two neighbors. Rita, who hosts weekly tea gatherings, leads a walking group at her church and FaceTimes her grandchildren every Sunday, and Martha, who lives alone, speaks to no one but her cat and finds trips to the grocery store daunting. Rita's life is brimming with purpose and support. Martha's is increasingly confined, her mood and health declining in tandem. But it's never too late to change. Whether it's joining a book club, volunteering at a local food bank, or simply calling an old friend, nurturing connections weaves an emotional safety net that catches us when health challenges arise. As you've seen, these 7 vital signs: walking speed, grip strength, balance, sleep quality, appetite and nutrition, stress management, and social connection are far more than isolated tests. They form an integrated portrait of how well your body and mind are adapting to each new year. And while genetics set the stage, your daily choices write the script. Start today by timing your walk, squeezing a stress ball during commercials, balancing on one foot while brushing your teeth, and reaching out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Track your progress in a simple journal. Note your walking time, the seconds you hold your balance test, how many squeezes you complete, and even how many minutes of restful sleep you log. Celebrate every gain, no matter how small. Each extra second, each stronger squeeze, each calm breath, and each heartfelt conversation is a building block toward more vibrant years. As you prepare to measure your walking speed tomorrow morning, imagine standing at your front door, eyes forward, phone timer ready. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Notice the swing of your arms, the lift of your heels. That simple act of noticing becomes a ritual of mindfulness, a reminder that your body's messages are worthy of attention. When you record your time, savor the small triumph of each fraction of a second improvement. Then, later in the day, pause to test your grip strength. Keep a stress ball or a soft foam grip trainer at your desk or coffee table. As you squeeze, breathe steadily, feeling the muscles in your forearm and hand ignite. Think of each repetition as forging not only physical power but also neural connections that bolster your brain's resilience. During a mid-afternoon stretch break, try the one-leg balance again. Stand near a sturdy chair for safety if needed, but reach for the sky with one leg bent, toes pointed, arms gently outstretched. If your foot wobbles, laugh at the unexpected challenge. Embrace the wobble as part of your progress. Track how many seconds you can hold today and set a gentle target to increase by 1 or 2 seconds each session. Imagine the thrill of sharing your growing balance time with a friend or family member, turning a solitary exercise into a playful competition or a shared moment of support. As evening approaches, reflect on your sleep environment. Perhaps dim the lights an hour before bedtime, trade screens for a hardcover book, and sip a warm, caffeine-free beverage that comforts you. Notice how your mind begins to unwind when you honor a consistent lights-out ritual. When you climb under the covers, bring awareness to your breathing, feel the rise and fall of your chest, the subtle weight of the duvet. If thoughts drift to tomorrow's tasks, gently guide your attention back to the present breath. Overnights, you'll find the fog of fatigue lifting and a fresher clarity greeting each morning. Tomorrow's breakfast is an opportunity to reinforce your newfound respect for appetite and nutrition. Lay out a colorful bowl of oatmeal topped with berries and a sprinkle of chia seeds, or perhaps a Greek yogurt parfait layered with granola and pomegranate arils. Savor each spoonful, noticing texture and flavor, and recognize that this simple act of mindful eating fuels every cell in your body. Keep healthy snacks, like mixed nuts, cheese cubes, or sliced fruit, within arm's reach to prevent energy dips and ensure that nourishment is effortless, even on busy days. As midday stressors arise, emails, errands, or unexpected challenges. Pause for a brief stress management ritual. Close your eyes, take 3 slow, deep breaths, and count silently. Inhale 1, exhale 2, inhale 3, exhale 4. Feel cortisol levels release as your parasympathetic nervous system takes over, calming your heart rate and grounding your thoughts. If you have time, step outside for a 2-minute walk, noticing the sensation of your feet on pavement, the shifting light on leaves, the ambient sounds of your environment. These micro breaks accumulate, building resilience that protects you from the wear and tear of chronic stress. Later, reach out to someone you care about. Place a call, send a text, or schedule a video chat, whatever medium feels most authentic. When voices connect, you share more than words. You exchange energy, laughter, and empathy. If you've been tracking your 7 vital signs in a journal or app, take a moment to jot down today's readings and reflect on patterns. Celebrate progress, a slightly faster walk, a firmer squeeze, a longer balance hold, a fuller night's sleep, more mindful meals, calmer breaths, and heartwarming conversation. As these daily practices become habits, you'll notice shifts beyond the metrics. You may find yourself tackling household chores with renewed vigor, climbing stairs without pausing, or returning to hobbies you thought you'd outgrown. Conversations with friends may feel more animated, your sense of purpose more deeply felt, and even casual outings more effortless. Your healthcare provider might comment on improved blood pressure, sturdier gait, or more robust lab results. Each affirmation reinforces your commitment and inspires you to deepen your efforts. In weeks to come, consider sharing your story. Invite a local senior center to host a vital signs workshop where you guide others through these simple tests and exercises. Let a walking group that times itself weekly, a grip strength circle where participants swap tips on fun strengthening tools, or a balance class that meets by the community garden. Offer to read about sleep hygiene at your library's health fair, set up a snack station for nutritious tasting samples, or start a stress-busting art therapy group. By teaching, you learn even more deeply, and you amplify the
Teacher.
life-extending power of these signs across your community. On days when motivation dips, revisit the science. Recall the landmark studies tracking thousands of seniors, the tangible correlations between these markers and years added on to life. Picture those researchers watching their data unfurl. Walking speed declines forecast mortality risks, but targeted walking programs reverse that trend. Grip strength readings predict hospitalization odds, yet consistent hand exercises reduce admissions. Balance tests split fall outcomes in two, yet simple home drills shift the balance in favor of stability. Sleep quality studies reveal cognitive protection. Appetite and nutrition data spotlight frailty risks that healthy eating can avert. Stress research proves the power of calm practices to lengthen telomeres. Social network analyses show that connected seniors outlive isolated peers by years. Above all, let this journey be one of joy. Celebrate your body's capacity to change, to adapt, to thrive. When you feel the warmth of sun on your face during a morning walk, the strength in your grip as you open a jar, the steadiness of your balance as you reach for a high shelf, or the comfort of a deep night's sleep, recognize these as victories. These are whispers and occasional shouts from your own physiology, affirming that you are heard, that you matter, and that your efforts are potent. Weeks turn into months, and months into full seasons of life lived intentionally. You might notice that the hallway where you've timed your walk now feels shorter, the stress ball in your hand feels familiar, the one-leg stance at your sink no longer feels precarious, and bedtime rituals come with a sense of eagerness rather than obligation. Your meals become colorful celebrations of taste and health, your stress management practices become treasured pauses of calm, and your social connections blossom into pillars of mutual support. When you look back a year from today, you'll see a tapestry woven from these daily threads, a tapestry of strength, balance, rest, nourishment, equanimity, and belonging. More importantly, you'll see that longevity isn't a distant abstraction. It's the sum of every choice you make, every habit you form, and every relationship you nurture. You become the architect of your own aging, crafting each day to support a future rich in years and quality alike. As you close this video and step back into your life, remember, longevity is not predetermined by your birth date. It's a living story you author with each intentional breath, step, squeeze, plate of food, peaceful pause, and heartfelt conversation. Start now. Choose one sign to focus on today, time your walk, squeeze a ball, balance on one foot, improve your sleep ritual, enrich your meals, calm your mind, or connect with someone you love. and let that choice be the spark that ignites a transformation. Share your first step in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you feel empowered, and subscribe for more deep dives into human health that put the power back in your hands. Here's to you, stronger, steadier, more rested, well-nourished, resilient, and connected, charting a course toward vibrant years yet to come.